Hey everyone, my name's Alden Dirks, and this is my FlexBox presentation for CIT. Basically, FlexBox is a simpler version of layout elements on an HTML page versus the way CSS has been used in the past. It provides an efficient layout and a way to align and distribute space in a container. It gives containers the ability to alter its items and to the best fill the space within those containers. Its most appropriate applications are for web applications and small scale layouts versus grid, which is used for large scale layouts. CSS FlexBox is common across most platforms. Just keep this in mind when you're designing that some phone browsers and older phone browsers might have issues working with this itself. We have here basically how it works. We have the main size of our container and the cross size of our container. We have the container itself with flex items in its. We have flex item 1, flex item 2. We have the main axis, which is the flow left to right of the content. So it starts at the main start and it ends at the main. This doesn't always have to be horizontal. It can be switched to a vertical with a certain property, and it can also be swapped back and forth. We also have the cross-axis, which is the flow from top to bottom, and this can also be flipped using property 2, and it goes cross-start to cross-end. Right here we have an example of a container. Basically, this is the div element that we put within, that we put all the flex items within to work with, and this is the purple container that's going on around here. So this defines our width. We set the display of this to flex, and we can work with the items within. The items within are the orange ones here, and here we can change the size, the flow, the direction, and everything that goes with them. So going from there, we have here an example of CSS FlexBox. You can find a lot of resources on this. One of the main resources I found very useful is CSS Tricks. It has a bunch of different properties and ways we can work with FlexBox and distribute the content in order to make sure it all works properly. Another really great resource that I found very useful was a YouTube channel called The Net Ninja. He has a lot of great tutorials that go step by step with different examples, and this is where I kind of found the layout for this to kind of describe what's going on with FlexBox and how we can use it. So getting into it, one of the main things we can see here is we have different containers that we have set up with different colors. These are all contained in something called a flex container here, and each one of these boxes is a different color, which is different flex items. To initiate the flex box, we have to set its display property to flex, and when we get rid of this, we can just see how it acts on the normal HTML page. When we put it back on there, we can see how it works with this right here. We can also mess with the direction of the flex. A lot of different properties apply to the main parent element. So if we type in flex direction, we can see that we can reverse the row and change the colors and how they work. Another way we can accomplish this is working with the main properties of the children themselves, where we can set the order of these. So basically we go into this red one here, we type in order for the property, we set it to an order of 1, and it flips it to the back. And the reason that works is these have a set order of 0, which is how it works in HTML. So if we wanted to actually make the blue box, or the number 2 box, the last one, we set this to an order of 4, and it should put it back behind. So now this is going in order of 0, 1, and 4. So that's how we can kind of think about that, is its order works. So larger the numbers, the further to the right it will be. Oops. Another thing we can look at is the flex row property for the children element. This allows them to take up different widths on the page. So we can set this to a box element that surrounds them right here, and they'll all take up the same one, or we can individually set it here. And this kind of works in ratio, so we can set the blue to 2 and the green to 31 to 3. And as you can see, as we shrink the page, it kind of just works with the content there and adjusts itself within that ratio. Another way to do something similar is we can do a It's not used as commonly because it's a little difficult to work with, but it works the same way where we set the number and it kind of just works with the content and they shrink within a ratio of each other. Like I said, the most common one is FlexGrow, and it helps content grow. We'll set this here to FlexGrow. Set that to 1 so that it'll take up the same amount of page. Another property that we can look at for the main container is how we can wrap content. So right now, as we look at our page, it kind of just shrinks and we lose the green there. It doesn't work as well. So what we can do is we can do flex wrap right here, and we set this to wrap. Basically, what this allows us to do is take content, and as we shrink it, it acts like a media query, where as it shrinks, the page actually stacks the items. And so what I'm going to do, since we're working with it here, I'm going to set the width of this to 300 pixels just to kind of see what's going on better. So now we can see that they take up that much page and they'll shrink about the same. But as we shrink this, they start stacking the smaller we get. So this is a really great way to work with media queries and get our content to stack in an efficient manner. So we can use that there with the flex wrap property. Another thing we can do is we can set the default size of elements before the remaining space is distributed. We can set its length. We can do this using the property of flex basis. And this set starts at 0 and works just way down. So right now we can set these all to 100 again. And then we'll set this flex basis to, we'll just say 200 pixel. And so now you can see that the red got a little bit bigger within its ratio of 1. If we get rid of this ratio of the flex grow, we can see that this is now a little bit bigger. And that's just a way we can individually size things and look at the flex basis. We can also align the content in different ways using justify content and align content. When we're working with this, we got to keep in mind that this is where the different cross-axes work. So one of the best ways to actually look at this is an example of a menu. So right here we have a menu, and it lights up red. It just looks like the regular HTML menu. It takes up its block, container, information, and everything like that. But what we want to do is we want to set this display to flex, and that is on the parent container. And immediately we can see, hey, with just one little bit of code versus floating, we can change all the content to the left here. Now we can take the different things that we can work with, such as the flex basis, the flex shrink, and the flex grow. We can combine them into a common property called flex, which we've seen a lot. So what we do is we can set the flex size to 1. We don't want it to shrink to 0, and we can set these all to take up the space of 200 pixels if we wanted to, or 100 pixels. Sorry. So now we can see that we've put together a certain basic menu. Another thing we do is we can flex wrap these so they shrink right now they kind of do it automatically and wrap, but if we wanted to, we can make them wrap using the flex wrap principle. So now we can work with the flex flow, flex direction, justifying content. So right now we have a lot going on with this right here. So going in the parent element, we can go to justify content, we type center, and that just basically leaves it where it is. But we don't want that to happen. We want it to be at the end. So we can type in flex end, which is principal, and it will move it to the left. Okay, there we go. That's how it's moved. So we can see that it moved it all to the left. We wanted to put it at the start, we can move it to the start right there. It'll move there. If we wanted to center it, we can center it. I spelled center. we center it there. And we can kind of see how we can create a simple menu that just is very flexible and works with us. Another thing we can do is space these out a little bit evenly, and we can do that with also to justify content, where we can add different values of space between, space around, and space evenly. So for example, the space between, it adds space between. If we add space around, it adds space around the different content. We can see how it kind of works with there. So there's a ton of different properties we can look at to work with FlexBox. Another one that we got to look at is how we can align content vertically on a page. So basically what we're doing is we're taking it and we are flipping everything vertically. So what we'll do is we'll set this to a height of 600 right there, so we can see how that works with the boxes there. Now, what we have going on is we can use the values of flex flow or flex direction to apply to the different cross axes that are going on. So if we look at our flex wrap we have going on here, get rid of this, we'll type flex flow. So now we're getting a different what's going on here. So row is what is base right as an individual in FlexBox. Flex bases here. So we can see that these are all a certain height and they're all going that way. But once we swap into a column form, right here, everything changes into this column form. I put my height value, which is why everything's looking funky. So we need to set a container to 600. Okay, there we go. Now we have what's going on there. Let's put min height of 100 px back. So we can switch how that looks on there. Now from here we can use aligned content and justified content, and they work a little bit differently this time. So now if we go and think back to the axis, we've actually flipped it. So our main axis is now going down and our cross axis is going that way. When we're working with cross axis, we have to think of aligning items. So we go into our Flex container, we type in align items. We can do things like center them, which will look like that. And we can also work with different values there. So we can work with them in center and work with them on justifying too. So justify, I can't spell tonight, justify content and center it there. Or if we wanted it all at the bottom, all at the top, we can work with it from there. Those are some of the basics of CSS FlexBox. I know it's a lot to take in, and there's definitely not a whole lot of time to crunch it into. I would definitely suggest looking at CSStricks.com or looking into the NetNinja and his YouTube tutorials on it. He has some really great examples, but those are some of the basics and some of the properties we can use for FlexBox and how we can use it to make different things like menus and work with the menus and set really nice menus up in very minimal code versus CSS flow. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to me and I can help you guys kind of grasp a little bit more of an understanding of what's going on. And like I said, it is set up to make layouts of web pages a lot simpler, but in the long run, it's a lot to take in at first since we're taking so much information and combining it down into one. So like I said, if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to me.